Welcome back to another episode of the Mind of Reese. Hello, guys. Today's a very special day. It's my very first guest speaker when it comes to education in this industry. And what I love about it is that just wanting to normalize getting mentorship, getting programs, like investing in yourself. This is how we collapse time around where we are and where we want to go. And what I love about Ryan is that he is just a wizard when it comes to finances, when it comes to managing your money, when it comes to just becoming an entrepreneur and really knowing how to financially understand how to run your business and, really let it work for you. So this is a real treat. I'm so excited that he is here and yay, we get to get into it. But before we do, I am so excited to announce that there is something new coming. And this will be about calibration, about mindset, about manifestation. And I cannot wait to give you a little more, but if you are interested in the juice, you're going to want to sign up for that little email list because those that do will definitely be getting a little up levelment. So if you are the kind of person that has been, you understand the strategies, you understand the business, and you're really just looking to get to that next level quantum leap, but you know that takes a lot of inner work to do it. This is the biggest flex that I teach a little bit in my Inspired Academy program. It is one of those places of what is the modalities, what is the how, what are the practices, what are the ritualizations that I can utilize, the tools that I can have so that I can create more space for more within me, wealth from the inside out. This is what we are going to do. I'm so excited. So this is something brand new course, brand new program from me. And I hope that you are excited about it. If you are, go ahead and sign up for that emailing waitlist. And also super stoked is that I am actually I've decided to offer 2 new spots for my VIP one-on-one 6-month, oh my gosh, I almost had just a brain fart, 6-month one-on-one work with me. This is my most hands-on program. If this feels exciting and aligned with you, we have a 3-month, but the 6-month, I just love diving deep into the inner workings, into what it is that you need in order to really up-level in your business. And the longer that we get to spend together, the better it is that I can get to know you and your inner workings, your patterns, all the good stuff, so that we can learn how to shift and move in the direction that you want to go in order to create and realize your wildest dreams. So get into that if you are interested. I have 2 new slots. I'm so excited. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this podcast episode. It is so juicy. You're going to definitely want to save it. Ryan has a plethora of knowledge and he's so wise, and I'm just so excited to have him on the podcast. He was in one of my programs once, and then now he's turned his business into a whole thing, his educational business into a whole beautiful thing for artists and creatives. And I just adore him for it. Go in there, hear this podcast out. If you love it, please tag us both in it. And you can find all of his information in the show notes as well. Sending you guys all the love, and I hope you love it. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of Reese. Today is a very special day. It'll be my first day where I have a mentor in the house here, and we have Ryan Roi, which is such a cool name, Ryan. And I would just, first what I would love to do is for you to introduce yourself and what magic you bring into this industry, and let us know.
Awesome. Thanks, Reese. My name is Ryan Roi. That is my actual last name. People ask return on investment. I've been a tattooer for a little over 14 years. I own Lowdown Tattoo in Brooklyn, New York, and I am a coach, a mentor, focusing primarily on finances for tattooers, everything from saving, managing, taxes, investing, and then really your relationship with money, which I know something you talk a lot about, Reese. And I love your input and perspective on it. And so that's me in a nutshell.
That's a very awesome nutshell. And it's funny because I think, were you in one of my programs before? That's right. Okay. So I remember I was like, I know him from somewhere, when someone had, and I was actually, you guys, I was just telling him earlier today about how like I stumbled back upon you, and it was just really rad because it was like in a mindset where I was like, I really want to just like make a podcast around other mentors and other, and really just like bring a lot of normalization around, investing in coaching and in mentorship, because it can really collapse time around where you are and where you want to go. And especially when it comes to finances, how many tattooers always talk about like, I don't know how to deal with my finances or my taxes and things like this. And I used to be a CPA, so I understand it a bit, but I'm no longer in that world. So it's like things change all the time. There's always new rules and new laws and what best works for us. And so I would love to get a little input on you, or like what you would tell someone, like, for instance, at the very beginning stages, it's like, who do I get an LLC? Do I, who do I do my taxes with and stuff? Because oftentimes what happens is that artists will start just making and generating a bunch of money, and they don't know what to do with it. And then they get penalized or in trouble, especially if they're trying to scale and grow their business. So give me the juice. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much there to unpack.
I bet. I'm sorry. That is a really gnarly question.
No, it's all good. Like, I'm just going with the flow, but I love it all. And I could talk about this stuff forever. So, and it's because of the difference that it makes in people's lives. I just want to be clear. Like, I don't give a fuck about money. Like, I don't. It's not the money itself that matters to me. It's the difference that it can make in someone's life, freeing them up from the burden of money, or liberating them, giving them the freedom to, create the life that they really want to live. That's what I care about. And then, is money a tool to help us do that? Sure. But, I care about the house I'm building, not the hammer that I use to build the house,
Yes, I love that.
Hammer,
yeah, well, we need the hammer. So
you need the hammer. Exactly. Yes. So the tool, the money, the hammer, whatever the tool is. And so, early on in tattooing, I think the biggest mistake, and like I'm not so worried about people being penalized or getting hit with back taxes. Like, that, does it happen? Sure. Does it suck when it does? Absolutely. What is more costly and more expensive than being hit with something, because is keeping yourself small to stay under the radar, so that you can avoid playing the game the way the game's intended to be played. And then 5-10 years go by, and you've been avoiding paying taxes. You've been trying to stay under the radar for health insurance reasons and stuff like that. And like, I got it. Like, everyone's in a different space. So it's not a one size fits all approach. But I realized for myself that I was trying to stay under the radar, trying to avoid paying taxes, trying to look on paper like I make, $30,000 a year, when I was making closer to $100,000 a year. And I wasn't able to invest money. I wasn't able to save and manage money effectively when it's like, safe, and it's cash. It's very difficult to manage cash. It's very easy to grab it, spend it, go out with it. And so, like, the first and foremost is like, it's okay to put money in the bank. A lot of tattooers have what I call permanent drug dealer brain, which is don't put money in the bank, whatever. And I'm like, I've talked to people, and I'm like, why don't you put this money in the bank? And they're like, well, I just, I'm like, are you just not paying taxes on it? And they're like, well, I pay taxes on it. I'm like, why don't you put money in the bank? I've literally talked to people that are paying taxes on it, but they're afraid somehow that something or someone's gonna, so they're just like hoarding it. And so permanent drug dealer brain. I'm sure a lot of us can identify with that.
Oh my God, yes.
I suffered from this affliction for many years. And
this affliction. Same.
And but like, it's okay to put money in the bank. It's okay to use the tools that are available to us, the tax deductions, the governance of business structures, S corporations. Like, there's so many. The game, one thing I heard about taxes that I really liked, this guy Mike Taylor, who used to be a professional skateboarder and now is a private equity investor, and he said taxes are a roadmap. The rules of the taxes are a roadmap to teach you how to build wealth. Now, they can either be the thing suppressing you, keeping you locked into an unjust system that isn't designed to work for you, or they can be the roadmap to wealth, and you can choose which narrative you want to approach it with, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fucking beautifully said. And it is definitely a choice on how you want to see your story. You know, you could either be the victim of the story or you could be the hero of your own story. And so, which would you rather choose? And especially with something like taxes or, you know, just money in general, it's like you get to liberate yourself from the own stories and narratives that hold you back and keep you small. And it's something that really resonated with me when you said, to play small in order to be under the radar. That's something that I did for sure, because I didn't want to be caught up with taxes, but the amount of times I had to have my dad co-sign with me just to make sure that I could do things, I was like, you know what, like this is it's not worth it to me. And if I want to scale and grow, then I just need to know that like money going out is just circulation. It's just frequency that's circulating the,
Energy.
circulating the air, really.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like this thing. It's like, if I just believe that, if I know that it's just circulating and it's going to come back to me, I'm just handing it off to different people and they're handing it off to different people and it comes back. And I continue to think that frequently, then it'll come back to me frequently. And so after I really like switched that aspect around, it became like, let's see how big I can play. Let's see how much growth we could have. And really at the end of the day, it's like, the mission at the end of the day is not really the money. It's like you said, the house that you're building. It's like, let's look at the bigger picture here. Let's lengthen our time horizon and really zoom out and see what it is that you're trying to build. It's not just to get to tomorrow. It's like, no, because at the end of the day, who knows what happens tomorrow? So I'm loving this. And I think this is a really beautiful way to really switch the narrative around on how we look at certain things that feel like a burden. Instead, we can actually liberate ourselves from that notion. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so what made you first off, really get into this? Where did this passion come from for you?
It all started in just wanting to do tattoos. Well, I just want to do sick tats, okay? And I want the money stuff to leave me alone. Just stop trying to make me fit into your fucked up system, evil money game. I just want to do sick. And I opened up a private studio about 6 years ago that has now evolved and eventually had other artists working there. And now we actually have a street shop location that we opened up in October. But it was just me, myself, and I in a tiny little private studio in Brooklyn, New York, when private studios were not yet quite the rave, the trend, which now it's like there's more private studios than there are main street shops. And I realized that, how old was I at the time? I was like 29 maybe. And I was just like, you turn 29, 30 in that range. You're like, what do I do about retirement? Or what do I do about, if I want to buy a house one day, how do you get from where I am living the pirate life to owning a house? And what's the roadmap? And I didn't know what it was. And it was just a concern. And the weight of the concern I felt was actually impacting my art and dealing with taxes and stuff. And and then I realized, well, if I got good at using bookkeeping software like QuickBooks, understanding, which bookkeeping software is also a magical thing when you start to understand it. You were a CPA, one of my people that works with me, she's a bookkeeper in the course that I lead, and she says that your bookkeeping tells the story of your business, and I just love that perspective. But being able to easily file taxes, have a system for it all, organize, separate, clarify where money is, what it's doing, and then do that automatically so I don't have to do it. Because here's the truth, I'm bad with money. I am. I always have been, and I probably always will be. What I'm good at is I'm good at building systems that are good with money for me so that I can just do sick tats, because that's all I want to fucking do.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just want to live
Oh
my
my
life
God.
and have
Yes.
fun and make art. So that's where but then somewhere along the way, like I went down a rabbit hole. I was like Roth IRA, traditional IRA, this LLC or S Corp or sole proprietor, like all these things. And then somewhere along the line, like it was like a switch. I realized that I was just actually passionate about this. I was fascinated with the whole world. And I don't know where or how that happened. Sometimes I joke around like maybe I had like a mini stroke and I wasn't aware of it. And it just like altered me. But I'm more passionate about financial education and freedom and freeing yourself around your relationship with money than I ever was about tattooing, which is crazy because I never thought that anything was going to be more important to me than tattooing was. It was everything. It was my life. I lived, breathe, eat, sleep, bled tattooing for so many years, and I still love it. So, this is my calling, and I do this full time now. I don't really tattoo professionally now. I did get hit up by an old client the other day who wants to get like a dope lobster tattoo, and I'm like, I have to do it. But but it's cool because I could really be selective and just make art purely for the joy of it,
Right. No, I'm absolutely 100% with you on that. It's like you eat, sleep, and drink tattooing, and then all of a sudden you find this passion within you because you just decided to follow the rabbit hole, follow the desire, follow your heart, and you're like, okay, I'm not good at money, but I want to get good at money. It's like, let's not try to escape from the fact that we have to deal with certain things in our lives. It's actually, if we move through it, we can actually liberate ourselves from the feelings of it feeling like it's barricading us or pushing us or keeping us low. And then we can be like, wow, there's other things in my life that I'm really actually passionate about. And I'm 100% with you on that. It actually, when I started teaching business, lifestyle, like this type of mentality, transformational coaching and things like this, it was like, it actually renewed my passion for tattooing. And I was like, holy shit. Like, and I didn't realize like how much of this stuff was like my healing journey and my spirituality was like a big reason why I was so small in the business and why it felt so overwhelming. And all of these systems I didn't want to put in place because I thought I didn't have enough time for it. But it's like, no, we choose where we put our time and our energy. And so it's no, I'm 100, like you and I are so kismet. This is like, I'm just loving this conversation so much because at the end of the day, it is really just about the transformation and helping others see that what their potential is, because
that's it.
We want to just get back to the fun shit. Like, what is it that we're passionate? We want to just tattoo, literally. Like, we don't want to do the entrepreneurial aspect, but we have to. So I love that. That's your like
the marketing, the money. It's a part of the art. It just is at a certain level. If you don't want to be a professional, you don't want to make your living doing it, then maybe you can but the minute you become a professional artist, all that stuff's part of the game. So rather than resist it, let's lean into it. Let's lean into the fear, and the comfortability, and I don't know how to do this. And it's something I always say, people in my course of like, I beat them over the head with this, is you cannot have the breakthrough without the breakdown.
Yeah. No, you cannot have the highs without the lows. Like, you cannot have like the full send highs of the feeling without the lows. And I totally am 100%.
The breakdown. And what we do a lot, and I do it too, I avoid having the breakdown. And I just try to work around the breakdown in like the familiar, safe area. But that's a breakdown of its own. It's familiar, but it's not giving me the life I really want. But it's just, and I don't believe in the comfort zone or the uncomfort zone. It's all uncomfortable. It's just one's familiar and one's unfamiliar. But it's all kind of uncomfortable when it comes down to it,
No, yes and no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish people would just see my face. Cause I'm just like, oh my God, total agreement with you. And I think that's funny because for me, it's always just like the relationship that we have to the uncomfortable just gets a little bit easier. And the more that we become brave, we compound confidence, and then we can move through the uncomfortable much easier, and we hold space for more, which means more space for a lot of things, the tangible things like money, and and other things like, passive income streams, and all of these other things that people are like, they feel like they want, but they're just like, it's just too much information. And the way that we you and I, it seems, and if I don't want to speak for you, but what it feels like is that what you've done is by moving through it, you've liberated yourself of the pieces that were keeping you trapped to open up more space for you to bring in more, which is more education, more knowledge around this, to build a course around this, and to actually help others do the same thing. And so it's really all about just like changing the relationship around how you move through the uncomfortable or the fear and things like that. So I'm
And
loving that's like, it's so interesting because you teach money, like that's the tangible win, but in all actuality, you really teach so much more than that. And I find that
I lure
really
you in.
wonderful.
I trick you into getting life coaching.
That's the same.
Don't
That's
get
the
some
way you
money
do
coaching.
it. That's the way you do it. Because people only want the tangible, it's like there's this tangible aspect that people really want. Like they're like, okay, I can see this materialistic world and difference, but in order to hold that and to grow from that, a lot of the inner workings have to change, and you have to have a death of the old self in order to make space for the new self. And so it becomes
Boy, is
like a
that uncomfortable.
transformative. And it's not fun. It's never fun. But if you are brave enough to do it, you will see like the possibilities in your life and how things just go crazy.
There's a great saying that I heard. I obviously, like, I have participated in so much coaching myself, hired coaches, programs, courses. I've invested more money in that, and as Alex Hormozy says, in the S&Me 500, not the S&P 500. I've invested more than anything else. And I've had the biggest return on that investment. But this course I'm in with Landmark Education, the Landmark Forum, I don't know if you're familiar with their courses. Anyway, transformational leadership communication training, that kind of stuff. They say the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off.
And this like radical honesty with yourself, if you can have that type of level of awareness, then you can really move through anything. And then it becomes like this fun game. We have this finite game, these little games that we play in the infinite game of our life. And it's just like, what finite game can I play and like be okay with everything that's happening, with everything that's going on? And especially when it comes to this, people think they have the control over certain things. And it's just like, when we could just get honest with ourselves and know we have no control and actually surrender to that, then we actually can do so much more and bring it all back. And I love that you mentioned and you touched on the fact that you've invested in yourself so much in order to get to the space that you are in now, especially in leadership, in the finance world, and just like transformational world. And so it's like, it is so important. Like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent in just like a year. In 1 year, I spent almost $100,000 for coaching, mentoring, and just being in the spaces and rooms with people that I'm like, whoa, you freak me out, and I need to be freaked out right now. And I love. Go ahead.
I call myself a financial nudist. I will share numbers, anything. There's nothing to hide here, because at the end of the day, we're all hiding whatever our thing is with money. But it's like, why? Who does that benefit? And who does that hurt? Well, it benefits the people at the tippy top for sure. If none of us are sharing anything about money. But I, did my taxes for 2022. I think I invested about $73,000 in coaching programs in 2022.
Oh, I believe it. I believe just from the way that you present yourself, the knowledge that you have, how quick you are with the thing. It's like, you can tell when someone has, put their money where their mouth is. It's like, you're not just saying these things that are coming out of your, from wherever, coming out of your ass. It's more just like, I know I actually took the time and really invested. And people don't realize, like, it does take time, but you can actually it all compounds, and it can actually come really, really fast. So like you said, for me, it's definitely 10x my business. Not that was like the goal. It was more just like, I loved personal development. I loved growth. I love business growth. I loved it. I love it. Like, I'm so passionate about it. I could talk about this shit all day long. And that it became to the point where I didn't even know that the momentum was happening so quickly until I did my taxes, until I had my CPA do my taxes. And he was like, oh, wow, Reese, this is what you made. And I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit, like that's what I did. And it's like, it's not even about that. It's like the money is just really coming back from me expressing my soul and me expressing my passion. And the more that we can find that and follow that, that's when it really does come back to us, because we're in a level of service outside of us. But we
Yeah.
got to go
And,
first. Like we
and
have to be the ones that go first.
if I firmly believe, like, if you manage to build wealth and it isn't coming from a place of deep caring. I was just talking to a friend of mine about, like, all you have to do is, if you just care deeply and authentically and then move from there, you can't lose. And let's say, people do make money not from that place, right? We all
Yeah,
are
of
aware
course.
of that. But I firmly believe that when you do that and then you make it about the money, it traps you. It becomes this prison, and you don't even know that you're in the prison, and you
Yeah.
think, I just need to make more money to get out of this prison. And it's just,
Yep.
and then you're just building the bars of your own prison at that point. And
I'm like, so I always tell people that I have um, reached financial goals both ways. From old paradigm thinking of like, oh no, this is all about the money. How many times can I outdo myself? And then I've done it from a place of like devotion and service, and outside of like, for me, because I felt like so much liberation and passion to heal and spiritual guidance, and this my nature, the transformation for myself, that I saw like what it did for me, that I wanted to help others, and it became that mission. And when I tell people like how hard it was on the first end, where it was just constantly, and like you said, I was building a prison, and it was a hard hole I was digging into the ground, where I'm thinking I'm moving upwards, and I'm just digging
right,
deeper into the ground, where I'm just like, this is really tough and hard, and my back hurts and my hands hurt, and I don't know what else to do, and it becomes stressful, and then you lose your passion. And I remember quitting tattooing for like almost a year because of this reason. I was just like, I don't think I like tattooing anymore. I just don't think that
yeah.
it's for me anymore. And
I
we
think
almost had to hit that rock bottom.
a lot of
But
tattooers, I mean, I can't speak for a lot of tattooers, but I just have a feeling, because I can relate to that in my own tattoo career. And you feel like, or at least I felt ashamed that I wanted to quit, or that I didn't feel like this would be for me. And it's also, there's a culture, within tattooing. It's like, to the grave, or what is it? I talk a lot about like retirement plans and stuff like that, and people will comment on it like, I'm never quitting tattooing, and my retirement plan holds 6 rounds. Some guy commented that, like, oh, dude, like,
bravo.
cool, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
If that works for you, if it truly works for you, then cool. But like, I'm not saying quit tattooing at some point. I just don't want you to have to tattoo for the rest of your life until you die.
Yeah.
If you want to until you hit the grave, cool. But the average person in America lives to about 80 to 83 years old. That's the average age right now. And that number is going up. So there's a better than average chance that you and I are going to be 80 years old, 75 years old at some point in our lives. And if you can imagine what that would feel like to be 75 and need to tattoo to make a living because you didn't put something away, prior. I mean, that's just, I don't wish that on anyone. Tattooing is fucking hard. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. It's a really, challenging art form job. And
Yeah.
I just wouldn't want that to have to be your situation. And again, if you want to do it. That's cool. But
like you said, you get to choose your passion projects. And, when it gets to this point, I think that this is where, there's not only a ton of inspiration from just this conversation, but it's also just like, you can tattoo for however long you'd like. It's just the choice to have to it's really the part where you don't wish it on anybody. Because once you get to the point of like, anywhere over a decade of tattooing, you start to feel it really gnarly within your body. And I started to notice that like the moment that even just in tattooing, even when I decided that I was no longer going to take on other styles that didn't light me the fuck up, it was the moment that I was like, I'm no longer going to be a turn and burn artist. Like I was just taught that. We're all taught that, and I was like, let's just make the money, turn and burn. And the moment I did that was the moment that my carpal tunnel just went away. It was the weirdest thing. And it was like, oh, my physical manifestation, my physical problems were happening because I wasn't following my own heart. And so it's like when people say they're like, I'm going to do this for until I'm 80, I'm going to die with a 6th round, which I think is hilarious and funny and awesome at the same time. But it's like,
Yeah.
but do you, is it
Only
like,
in
is that
tattooing,
really
right?
it? Yeah. But is that really it? Or is it feel like you feel like it's the only thing you've got? And that's where it gets really, that's the part where you get to get really honest with yourself. When you said the truth is going to piss you off, you're like, if I actually answer this question truthfully,
Right.
is this shit going to piss me off? And I'm going to try to avoid it and escape it. And so it's like, it's a really about radical responsibility and radical honesty for yourself so that you can do more, play big, do the
Yeah.
things. And if tattooing is the thing you want to do forever, how about put some away and get really understanding of your own finances, or, hiring someone to help you out with that kind of stuff in order for you to tattoo the fun stuff at the end of the day. And so you don't have to worry about all the money, like you said. So I really love that aspect of the conversation when you were just like, I'm not good at money, but I just want to make sure that I'm not having to worry about this shit, because that worry takes up space and it fucks with my creativity. So,
and I firmly believe that any amount of time, energy, and money that you invest now in building better systems, a better foundation that supports you living the life you ultimately want to live, it only pays back in time, energy, and money for the rest of your life, compounded year after year. More and more is returned back to you. But you have to, make that investment of time, energy, or money, or all three now, in order to get that return.
And I definitely don't want to be doing time, energy, and money. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be the bionic woman by the time I'm 80. I'm just going to say that because my mother's Asian and she's like totally the bionic woman.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be, I'm not sure my time, energy, and money is going to be as good as it is. My time and energy is going to be as good as it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the type of energy, like physical energy to be able to do these kinds of things, I would rather it be set in a place where I'm just at this point, I'm just like, more is more is more is more on top of more on top of more. Like that's, everything's a cherry on top from here on. Now that I put all of, the energy and space into like really creating the foundations and the systems in place in order for me to just continue to grow sustainably.
Yeah. I talk a lot about this concept. We're all familiar or heard of the concept of our inner child. We want to
get
a healthy relationship with our inner child and heal and make them feel safe so that we can feel safe playing in the world. But there's also a relationship that you have with your inner elder, this older version of you that, in the illusion of linear time, we may not be interacting with, but you are interacting with them, and every action that you take right now in the present, it's going to impact your inner elder. And thinking about, how can I take actions now that future me 30 years from now is going to be like, oh, thank God you did that, Ryan. I'm so glad that you put those things in place and took the time and made the sacrifices that you weren't going to see the rewards of anytime soon. But you planted those seeds that now I get to, live under the shade of that tree.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Hit right in the stomach and the gut, the relationship with your inner elder. That is beautiful. And it is very true. Every decision that you make in this very moment is a decision that's going to impact that future you. And so it's like, and we have finite, we don't have infinite decisions that we can make. We have infinite potentials, but it's like until we can get to that point where we understand those infinite potentials, which is really talking with your inner child and having a lot of conversations and making them feel safe so that you can play the game in this material world. It's like, that's the only way. But if we continue to utilize the beliefs from our past to create the present, that's going to create the future. And so it's just like, absolutely, you're playing in all aspects of your past, present, and future self. So that is some wisdom. That is some wisdom, my friend. Oh my gosh, I am so happy that we were able to have this beautiful fucking conversation. I definitely would love to talk more on this, just one-on-one with you, just in general. But if for the people out there, what would be like the golden nugget? What would be the dripping in gold piece of advice you would offer someone that would just be like, take the leap, take the step, you know?
The golden nugget. I mean, everyone wants a golden nugget, right? They want the
We
one thing.
all do. We want it. I mean, to be honest, not gonna lie, the entire conversation has been really gold, even just for myself. Like, I'm taking so much away from it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this was like on another level of a conversation. And so for me, I think the whole podcast episode is gold, but I'm more so
Totally.
thinking of it like okay, go for it. Please tell me. If you got it.
Yeah. And like, and I wanted to come in like, what practical things could I just, like, tangible actions, could I just put in place or offer here, which I think ultimately won't change your life as much as the whole conversation we just had. But I think that they're both equally as important together,
Sure.
I made a post just the other day on like how to save $10,000. And I
Mhm.
said, automate it, put whatever you can afford, whether you're earning $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, wherever you can comfortably, and then automate. And I think tattooers, or anyone who earns regular income, is very scared of automating it, because it's like, well, what if I have a slow week, or what if this, and if I have, $300 at the end of the week coming out and being transferred. First of all, you can cancel the automatic transfer. You can always go in and cancel it. And second of all, what ends up happening is the auto transfer ends up disappearing into the background of your life. You forget that after 2 months, like, you don't even realize it just becomes like the app that you subscribed to, that you forgot you subscribed to, and you've been paying $14 every month for the past 2 years. It just becomes that. But it's saving you money instead of costing you money. So when I just like realized, like, I just need to like take the leap, and you can start small. You don't have to save $100, $200, $300 a week. You can save $10 a week. Start and then slowly increase it, but it disappears after a while of doing it. And then you get comfortable with it. And all of a sudden you have this reserve of energy. And what it does is, and here's what you do with it. Here's what you buy with that reserve of energy. Okay. So you've saved up your first $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. What do you do with it? Here's what you buy: peace of mind. By leaving it in the fucking bank. Don't spend it. Don't put it anywhere. Don't invest it. Don't do, if this is your nest egg, your emergency savings is the foundation on top of which you can build anything that you want in your life: houses, cars, spaceships, tattoo shops, wherever you're going in your life. But you have to have that bedrock of your emergency savings, because life is unpredictable. And the only way we can ensure against that unpredictability, besides having all kinds of insurance, which you could do, but even before that, is having that bedrock of an emergency savings that's buying you peace of mind every night. 3 to 6 months worth, roughly $15,000 to $30,000 is the ideal for an individual. Obviously, if you have a family and kids, life insurance, that's a big thing if you got kids. But just build that bedrock. Do it automatically. Do it slowly so that you don't notice it. And over time, you'll be amazed at how quickly it actually builds up. Slow is fast, fast is slow. Because what I used to do was I would have a busy week. I'm like, man, I made like $2,000 this week. Or I'm going to put $1,000 in a bank. Or I'm going to put $1,000 under my safe or whatever. And it was like I would save in these like binge saving, like I'd save when I had a big chunk of money. I'd wait to save. But I would inevitably somehow end up tapping into it, because it wasn't built into my life as like a slower, steady pattern of saving, and so that's like the biggest thing. Like that one thing will change the most lives here. And if you're already saving money, it can improve your ability to save, and if you aren't, it can get you started.
Yeah. Oh my God. Hell yeah. That's awesome. What I love about it too is that it also, a lot of my listeners are very, very like, we always read between the lines. So it's like, not only is this a tangible, but it also is metaphorical for like life. And it's just like, oh, well, if I can just get over the hump of just creating this habit, this change over time, this change becomes a part of me. It becomes embodied. And then I know that I actually can handle it and it's going to be okay. And that's actually is going to save me a lot of time, energy, and money at the end of the day. So it's like that peace of mind is really creating so much more space for more. And so I love that. I love that.
You take actions from peace of mind rather than actions from a place of scarcity or fear. And you're able
Stress
to do more. Yeah. So that's
absolutely
money that's sitting in the bank that people, inflation. I don't like money getting, I like my money making me money babies too, but I don't mind the inflation because the peace of mind that is purchased by having that money sitting in a bank, preferably a high yield savings account with at least earning some interest.
Yeah.
I'm able to invest that peace of mind, that energy is given back to me in my life, and then I can invest it in my art, my projects, and my family, and my life, and my health. And so it's all a big flow of energy, time, energy, money. It's all the same. And you were saying something earlier about money as energy, which I think is such a lot of people talk about money as energy, but like it's actually something you need to practice. It's not something that you just know and then is impacting your life. You need to regularly practice that money is energy. And I go even further and say that you don't have money. I don't have money. We're either an open channel that allows the energy to flow freely to and through, or we're a closed channel and that energy can't flow freely. And like you were saying, like let it go and it will come back. But you never actually have it. You're just like an open source, an open channel, a conduit through which that energy can flow freely. And that's where doing the inner work and doing the mindset work is so important. And that's why it makes such a big impact, is because all that stuff is friction that causes buildup and plaque in your channel of money energy.
Oh my God. Yes. I absolutely love that analogy with it. I always tell people, I'm like, you're not the creative one. You're just the conduit that flows creativity, but you can't flow creativity with all the junk that's clogging the pipes. Like that's not going to happen. And especially with like stress, anxiety, like not understanding your marketing, not understanding the systems in place you need in your business in order to make things automated or just get help and to like take things off of your mind to clean those pipes so that you could be more creative and up level in your creativity. So this just goes the same way with money. It's like you are an open channel. And I love that shift in mindset that you don't actually have any money. You are just the open channel for it. So that is a fucking golden nugget, right? Awesome. So lastly, where can we find you? Do you have a program open? Is it on all the time open? Is there a wait list? Like what's going on?
Yeah. So the name of my program, it used to be called Pirate to Professional, as tattooers are familiar with the pirate life. But we started getting interest from people outside of tattooing. And so my company is called The Artful Dollar. And so I just decided to just call the course The Artful Dollar, using money as a medium, an artistic medium in our life. And so you can find me on Instagram as Ryan Roi Tattoo. That's where I'm usually sharing, a lot of practical knowledge, but also some of these wisdom nuggets as well. And the course, man, it has grown and evolved like wildfire.
I bet.
And I have a whole team behind me that helps support in managing aspects of the course just so that I can focus on leading the course. But we do 20 people every month can join, and it's a 3-month course. And we have, varying payment plan options and stuff like that. It always works, and it's always worth the investment. We've got plenty of testimonials and stuff like that. But so, we do 20 people a month. It usually fills up about the 3rd week of the month. Sometimes we have a couple spaces left, but it's just growing. And I'm training an assistant coach. I'm getting some help from people. So it's just super fun to lead. And again, like I lead from just I just care so deeply about each and every person that comes in. I tell people, like, if you work with me, I'm not waiting to see if this course changes your life. I don't hope that it changes your life. It's changing your fucking life. It's only going one way. So let's play that game. As my dad says, let's win the game and then play it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I love that, Ryan. That's awesome. Well, that's so exciting that you get to do what you love, and just like really just continue to change lives. And that's just That's a vibe. That's such a vibe. Well, thank you, Ryan, so much for being on the podcast. And everybody go and follow. I'll put everything in the show notes as to where you can find him, and you can go follow him and hopefully take his course as well. We all need financial liberation and abundance and mindset as well. So thank you so much, Ryan. And
Thank
we'll see
you,
you guys
Reese.
all next time.